How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the channel. This is Big Day Dave, and this is another Farm Sim Talk, a show where we get to talk to other creators within the farming sim community. And today we have a special one lined up tonight. I am very pleased to say that I am joined not by just one creator, but two separate creators. As you can see on your screen here, I am joined by the old gamers Layne and Wayne. How are you two gentlemen doing tonight?
Fantastic. Fantastic. How's it going, y'all?
Oh, excellent, excellent. Glad to hear it. So just want to give a quick shout out to all the people I see talking there in chat. I see Crimea River, Ken Adlam. We got John C. Pepper, Why Not Gaming. We've got Sandra Kims. And yeah, thank you all so much for stopping out tonight. Dust Bunny is also out there. Dust Bunny, how is everybody doing tonight? Hope you all are having a fantastic day so far. So, the old gamers, Layne and Wayne, two twin brothers on the show tonight. I am so excited to have you both on. Now, before we get going, do you want to go ahead and give yourselves places where we can find you at?
All right. How's it going, Wayne? Can you do that for us?
Well, yeah, one easy way is just to just go on Google and type in Old Gamers Layne and Wayne all together. The first link will be our link. I had it right here because it's just Old Gamers Layne and Wayne, and it says -MZ2PE will take you directly to it. We're on Discord also. If you go to our YouTube page, right at the top of the landing page will be our Discord link. And yeah, y'all come on out, and appreciate all of you being here this evening. And big shout out to Dave. Appreciate you having us here tonight.
Oh, you're
Oh,
very,
yeah. And
very welcome.
all those are in right here in the stream. Also, appreciate you putting those links down there for us.
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Go ahead and check out the link in the description below if you're wanting to go ahead and find the old gamers, Layne and Wade. Now, again, before we get going, do you want to give any shout outs? Layne, do you want to shout out anybody in particular?
Oh man, there's so many people I want to shout out to. I don't want to miss anybody, so I'll say shout out to everybody in chat. Shout out to everybody that's live here on the stream with us. BDD Gaming, thank you so much for being here. Wayne, thank you so much for being here. This is going to be exciting. I'm looking forward to it. I'll tell you, there's some more premium prime events going on tonight that we're up against. So I hope you're double dutying it or just turning that off and being here. Take your choice.
And what about you, Wayne? Do you want to give any shout outs before we get going?
Just like Old Gamer Lane said, there's so many, I don't want to miss someone. First one is just shout out to my beautiful wife, and she's not even in the room here. She can't hear me right now, but I appreciate her so much. And right back at you, Old Gamer Lane. I'm glad you're here. Dave, thank you so much. Everybody in chat, everybody who watches our channel, all of our subscribers and viewers and lurkers and ones who participate also, thank y'all so much. Y'all are what makes the channel and makes it all fun. Thank y'all.
Yes.
Absolutely. And Wayne sitting there and earning the good hubby points. Good on you, Wayne. So let's go ahead and get going with our first segment here. The segment, excuse me, this segment is called Digging Up Dirt. This is where we get to know.
Oh, mercy.
Oh, yes, we are right in the middle of it. So this is a segment where we get to know you all a little bit more personal, you know, the men behind the scene. So let's go ahead and start out with Layne. Layne, is YouTube your primary job, or do you have other things that you do?
Now, you know, Dave, whenever I was a kid, I remember they took me to get shot one time at the doctor's office. And I wouldn't go first. I said, y'all got to let Wayne go first. But well, actually, YouTube's not my primary job. Wouldn't that be an awesome primary job? It would. Actually, I've had a lot of jobs through the years, and for over the last decade, I've been in education, but recently retired from that. So I'm hoping to get to spend a lot more time on YouTube and on streaming.
Yes.
Fantastic. And Wayne, what about you? Is YouTube your primary, or?
Oh, same. Oh, it'd be awesome. It'd be awesome. Still loving it though. Loving what we're doing. Loving all the folks. Last 4 years, I was in the classroom teaching sixth graders, seventh graders. A lot of fun, but I've retired from that, and now I'm just pushing forward. Going to see what the next chapter holds.
Okay, so you're both in the education field. Did you specialize in certain subjects, or?
Well, I was actually taught when I was teaching in the classroom. I taught English and I taught science and I taught history, mostly English. But I was mostly middle school. Well, I was all middle school when I was teaching, but then I was also high school and intermediate and primary in other roles.
Okay, and Wayne, what about you?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I started out teaching science. First year, I was wanting to teach history, so taught science 1 year, and an opening came up where I was able to teach world cultures in sixth grade for a few years, and I taught Texas history, seventh grade Texas history, also for a couple of years.
Excellent, excellent. So, you would say, Wayne, that you're a bit of a history buff, or
Oh, I love history. Yes, sir.
do you tend to focus on any particular part in it, or are you just kind of a general history fan?
Wow. Really, overall, general, I was really fascinated by the Civil War, terrible time in our nation. But wow, it was just so interesting to me. But yeah, overall, just and world cultures, I didn't really think I was going to enjoy that as much as I did. It covered like an encyclopedia of different. And Old Gamer Lane, he taught that also 1 year. But yeah, it was a ton of fun.
Now, were you two in the same district, or were you in separate?
Same.
We
Okay.
were the same district. Actually, there was a year that I left. He was teaching science, and I left the history class I was teaching, and he took right over and moved right in that room.
So, when y'all were teaching, and really kind of in general, uh, did you ever play any hijinks because you're twins and whatnot? Did one of you go into each other's classrooms and teach each
Well,
other's
we're playing
subjects,
one.
or
We're playing one right now. I'm really Wayne, and he's really Lane. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, that would have been awesome. But I want to shout out, though, I really enjoyed my first couple of years there, 2 or 3 years. Old Gamer Lane was working in the same, at the same middle school I was at. So, and I really enjoyed that time together.
I didn't have as much sun on me all the time, and he didn't have a light shining in his face, so I didn't look so red, and he didn't look so bright. And we would stop students in the hallway. I mean, they have a tardy bell
Oh,
looming,
mercy.
coming to them, and they would just stop. But I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it at all. But anyway,
They,
that
ma-
happened.
they made us feel like movie stars. We look more alike then than we do now.
so? Lane, starting with you, what are some of your favorite hobbies? Hiking, fishing, sports?
Oh man, all that sounds fun. You know, I do all kinds. I do all kinds of things. I hunt bears. I jump out of airplanes. I, uh, I mean, it's in my virtual life. But but IRL, yeah, I have hobbies. I play the guitar. I enjoy golfing. I don't get to do it near enough. The main reason I enjoy golfing because I get to spend time with my sons and my brothers whenever we go out, and that's a really good time. And I guess simulators and gaming, some of that can be hobby as well.
Absolutely. See, I'm in danger when I get the clubs in my hand. The last time that I ended up picking up a set of golf clubs, I ended up blowing out the back window of a minivan driving down the road.
Oh no! Oh mercy!
I don't know if it was something that I should have been proud of, hitting a moving target, with this itty bitty ball, or if it was
Oh,
something I
mercy.
should have been ashamed of. And at the time, I was quite terrified and ashamed. But now that I'm a bit older and whatnot, it was definitely kind of like, maybe, maybe. Thankfully nobody was hurt. No, the insurance covered it and all that stuff. I felt terrible at the time, but
But years later, that's bragging rights, right?
exactly, exactly. Wayne, what about you? What kind of hobbies do you have?
Hobbies. Wow. I love gaming. I'm really interested in everything technology. I love it. Love playing 42, a domino game we used to play. Haven't played in a while. We used to play a lot with our parents, and all of us would get together and spades. But yeah, just nowadays, just spend a lot of time, as much as we can, gaming, creating content. I love doing that. Old Gamer Lane, I know he feels the same way.
Oh yeah.
That's excellent. Now, you mentioned earlier that part of your interest was hunting bears, but that was in the kind of gaming world. Do you do hunting IRL or?
You know what? I haven't been hunting in
Yeah,
years.
it's been a few
I'd
years.
like to. I have a couple of our sons. They do a lot of hunting during season, but I haven't gone out with them. That would be fun though to get a trip together.
Yeah. And old gamer Layne's son, we went fishing with him a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years ago.
Yes.
And he took us down there and he caught a fish right off the bat. But well, we didn't catch anything else the rest of the fishing trip. I think he had that. I think he brought that fish with him to the lake. I don't know. But that's the only one we caught.
You know, there's a saying, a bad day of fishing is better than a good day of work.
Come on, come on.
It's kind of where I got the inspiration for my
Yeah.
for my shirt there. And yeah, needless to say, I live by that. You know, I'd much rather just be out in the middle of nowhere hunting and fishing and not bring home anything than be able to,
Yeah. There you go.
and having to sit in the office or something like
yeah.
that.
That's good.
Yeah, our mom, she's 82 years old. She just had her birthday, and she could sit there with a fishing pole. Not recently, but
Yeah.
used to. She could sit there with a rod and reel in her hand, and just sit on the bank and just have a good time, whether they're biting or not.
Hmm. There's something about it that's just so freeing and relaxing that, I mean, it's very similar to the whole realm of Farming Simulator, where you just kind of
Yeah.
tune out and let what happens.
Right.
So, Wayne, let's start this next one with you. What are some of your favorite books, movies, or music?
Oh, wow. Hey, that's a good question. I was
Hey, man, I
talking to my
wanted
wife
that one
earlier
first. No, I'm kidding with
about that.
you.
You want as far as books, I used to read a lot when I was younger. I would read a lot of autobiographies, a lot of biographies, and then I'd read a lot of westerns. I read a lot of Louis L'Amour books, and old gamer Layne, I believe he told me about this author, William Johnstone, writes really good westerns. I really enjoy those. As far as movies, wow, runs the gamut. I like most types of movies. I know I like John Wayne, like El Dorado, awesome movie, and things like that.
And what about music? What kind of music do you listen to?
Music, wow. Used to, nowadays I listen to mostly like gospel music. I used to listen to country music. I don't listen to much music anymore. I used to, but just never hardly have it on.
Gotcha.
But I like Southern gospel.
Okay. And then, Layne, same question to you. Books, movies, and music.
Oh, yes, sir. Appreciate it. I'd like to, before I answer, I'd like to ask Chat, what kind of books do y'all like to read? I'd like to look in that and read it later.
Yeah.
I might be tempted to look over at my phone and see what you're putting in there, but I'm curious what you like to read. As far as me, I really like the William Johnstone books about Smoke Jensen and some of the other characters that he creates, and he really takes you there. I also like John Grisham, anything John
Yeah.
Grisham.
Yeah.
I like it. I was actually reading a book several years ago. Old Gamer Wayne was having some kind of doctor's appointment. I don't remember what it was, but I was sitting in the waiting room there with him. I don't know what the procedure was or anything. I don't remember, but I'm reading this book, and this author, I don't even remember the book, but I remember he took us up some snowy mountains, and it was like an escape. You were really there with him in the mountains. All of a sudden, I started smelling the pine trees. I mean, this author was that good. But then I looked up and I noticed there was a Christmas tree in the corner. It was a live Christmas tree. But anyway, and as far as music goes, I really like gospel music. I like lyrics that'll lift you up and encourage you. Used to, I would listen to some of the older country and some of the I don't remember, Southern rock and roll, I guess. I don't remember what you call it, but some of those genres, because I could hear some really good guitar and other instruments being played. If it's talking about your wife leaving you and all that, I'd rather just play the record backwards and let you get your wife back. But anything that will encourage and lift me up.
Excellent. And what about movies? Do you watch any movies?
Movies. Oh, yes, sir. Not near as much as probably I used to because we're so busy either doing other things with family or creating content, or we need to actually live stream more because that's a great time right there. But movies, Wayne was talking about John Wayne. I remember one old movie he was in. It was actually the year our daddy was born, 1939. Stagecoach. He was in it.
Yeah, it's a
And
good
they've
one.
made several remakes of Stagecoach. I know there was one later that Bing Crosby and Anne Margaret was in. Then there was another one later on, Willie Nelson and Chris Christopherson and maybe Waylon Jennings,
Yeah.
some of the country music stars, they were in it. So I really like how they remade that, and you could enjoy each one, even though they're the same story. It's still different because of the different actors that are in it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's amazing in how even though you're watching the same tale being told, that the actors can bring just that different level of flavor to the
Right.
movie
Right.
itself.
Right.
You know, it could be shot for shot the same thing, but because of the individuals who are playing it, it's radically different. It's
Yes,
really
sir.
incredible when you see stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right.
So, kind of going on the flip side of the original question being asked, what are some of the oddest, weirdest books, movies, or music that you have listened to over the years? Wayne, let's start with you.
I can tell you an odd movie I watched several years ago. He has no idea what I'm going to say. He's
I
laughing.
probably do.
I watched a movie, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 years ago. I don't even remember when it was made, called The 13th Floor. I had to watch it a couple of times. It was kind of out there, sci-fi. I like sci-fi also, but it was pretty interesting.
Gotcha. And then what about books or music? Any oddballs there?
Uh, well, old gamer Layne was talking about some good authors. I read a book by Lee Childs a long time ago, and it was pretty odd. I don't remember the name of it right now, but he was a great author.
Okay. And then Lane, same question to you.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Can I ask Wayne, what was the 13th floor about?
It was about this gentleman who was going back to virtual reality Los Angeles to find the person who killed his boss before it
Oh,
occurred.
wow. Oh,
It was
okay.
pretty
Because
interesting.
you actually, this is a very rare moment where I thought I knew what you were going to say. A very rare moment where I thought I knew what you were going to say, but I was wrong. I thought you were going to talk about years ago. There was a show that came on. Seemed like Chevy Chase was in it and John Candy maybe. I don't remember, but they went to
One of the vacation
Broncosvania
movies.
no, they
Oh,
went to
oh yeah. Nothing but
that was
trouble. Nothing but
yeah,
trouble.
that
Oh
was
wow.
such a weird movie. It was. The
Yeah.
characterization was
Yeah.
weird. The storyline, I don't even know if it had a plot or not. It was very entertaining, but it was very weird.
You're right. You're
Wasn't that
right.
the one with Dan Aykroyd in it as well?
I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
probably
I'm pretty
so.
sure
Yeah,
it was pretty weird.
Yeah, it
yeah.
was like they ended up going out into the middle of nowhere, and they
Yeah.
ended up
Mm-hmm.
finding this home
Mm-hmm.
with a really loony family inside.
That
And
was it. That was
yep,
it.
yep, I know exactly which one you're talking about. That was a very oddball one, but it was definitely interesting.
It
Right, it
was. It
was.
was.
I mean, you got those
Uh,
guys together, that
oh my
those
goodness.
characters together, it's probably going to be interesting 9 or 10 times out of 10.
Yep.
Yeah, and what was wild too is that they were classic characters. I mean, Dan
Yeah.
Aykroyd, really great actor. John Candy,
Yes.
really great actor.
Right. Right.
Yes.
But it was almost as if the story behind it kind of threw them into, I don't know, almost like a disarray. Like it wasn't like the same level of performance that you would expect. I'm not saying it was bad, but it was just
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
different.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
It was
sorry, go ahead.
definitely different. You're sure right. It was.
So, Lane, starting with you, what would you do if content creation was no longer an option for you?
I
Wow.
would I would make a way to open the door where it would be. If it was no longer an option, man, that's such a sad question. Content creation. I tell you what, probably the next best thing would to figure out what are we going to do on a stream and figure out how to go out and do it live. That would be
Oh, wow.
so much fun. I mean, we step into these roles of what people do IRL, uh, and sometimes it's for fun, sometimes it's for work, but we get to step into their lives. And it would be so great if we could spend maybe a day and walk in their shoes and see what it's really like.
Mm.
I gotcha. And Wayne, what about you?
If content creation was no longer an option, wow, I don't want to think about that. I enjoy doing this so much, and it goes back to an earlier question. It would be so awesome to be able to do it full time. And wow, if it wasn't, I'd still be gaming. I'd still be trying to connect with people because people are what's important. And games are fun. I've been gaming since way back Donkey Kong Pac-Man days and just having a ton of fun. So, wow, I would just push forward, press forward with my life and enjoy it and take time to stop and smell the roses or the coffee, whichever you prefer.
I gotcha. I gotcha. So let's see. Next question I have for you too. Has it always been your dream to be a content creator, or did you kind of fell into it? Wayne, let's start with you.
Uh, well, wouldn't really say it's always been a dream because, wow, I mean, ever since I known that there was an option to do it, yes, but we went through quite a few years where we would use two tin cans with a string tied between them to talk like we were talking to somebody. Our phones were connected to the wall by a wire.
Mm-hmm.
And so it wasn't an option. We would dream that one day we would have satellite dishes on our roofs out in the rural areas where we used to live. So it wasn't really an option, but when it became an option, yes, me and Old Gamer Lane, we played games quite a while. We would always say, "Oh, Gamer Lane knows what I'm about to say." We would always say, "We ought to be recording this. We ought to
Yeah.
be streaming this. We ought to be." And then, thankfully, finally, one day, there was, and anybody who's listening, don't let anything stop you from doing what you dream of doing. Just do it.
Right.
Just start doing it. Just start doing it. And yes, I'm just thankful that we're doing it now, and I enjoy it.
That's amazing. Lane, what about
Absolutely.
you? So maybe not. Maybe dream is too much of a strong word, but even kind of looking at it through like the lens of history, um, content creation, like what you and I all do
Right.
on YouTube, yeah, that might not have been a thing, but has there ever been a time in which you all wanted to maybe be a presenter on television or, something that could have been kind of tangentially related to what it is that we do now, even, kind of taking history into context?
That's a
Right.
good question.
That's a very good way to put it. I guess through the years we've been presenting since at least since grade school. I mean, you do your work and then on into college, putting presentations together and having to present it, and uh, then, like Wayne said, there was a long time where we would be getting on simulators or games. We were driving tractors or police cars or fire trucks or race cars or whatever. And there was many times we said, we ought to be recording this. And finally, I don't really remember the exact day when we started actually venturing into that, but we did. And I'm so thankful because we've met people that otherwise we'd never
Yes, that's
would
right.
have met at all. I mean, we've met people locally, people in the same state, people in other states, people in other countries. It's just incredible how we can have people in the same time zone, people in many other different time zones, some of them as far as 7 hours time difference or more, and we have to
Right.
try to figure out how can we get together where we can connect, and it works, and I'm so grateful and so thankful. I don't know if I answered your question or not, but I tried.
No, absolutely. So, all right. So, Lane, will start with you on this one. What do you think is something that you're not very good at, but others would disagree?
Something I'm not very. I can tell you. I mean, well, I can't say that because others will agree. Well, others would disagree. Something I'm not very good at. Uh, well, I know. Uh, I mean, I'm pretty good at it. I won't say I'm not good at it, but there are some people that are incredibly good at it. Is the guitar. I've been playing the guitar
I disagree.
probably, I know, probably over 5 decades. I've been playing the guitar over 50 years, and I have some pretty nice, decent equipment. But I hear some people they just do amazing things with it, and I just haven't put the time in to do some of that stuff. So we'll just go with that because that's what I could think of.
And what kind of guitars do you own?
Well, right now I have a. You put me on the spot, and I could probably look at it. No, it's in a case. And I can't remember what it is right now. That's terrible. I've been playing the guitar all these many years. One of my favorite guitars was the Fender Strat. I really like that, and I got rid of that one. I don't even remember what I did with it. Probably gave it away. But then I bought another one that's more for rhythm. And I'm going to get up in a few minutes to go look in the case and remind myself what my guitar is, and then I'm going to kick myself for not being able to tell you. But anyway, it's more for rhythm and instead of lead, and I really miss my Fender for more of the lead.
I gotcha. And Wayne, what about you? What do you think that you're not very good at that others would disagree with?
Wow. I'm not very good at answering some of these questions. What I'm not very good at.
Gonna get worse, brother.
Disagree. Oh, that's good. I'm loving it. I just say no whammies, big bucks. What am I
Big
not
money, big
very
money,
good?
no whammies.
Yeah, I know. One thing I'm not very good at, which does it have to be a good thing or a bad thing? I know, like in jobs in the past, I'm not very good at. It's just easy for me to not. What's the word I'm even trying to think of? Has your mind ever went blank? To
Yeah.
where, like, if you're needing to say something, but you're wanting to prefer others, and you're trying to just not push in. I can't think of the word, but I don't know. I'm not good at playing the guitar either, but I don't play the guitar. I'm gonna think of an excellent answer after we get off. After a while, I'm gonna think of an excellent answer for that. Isn't that how it goes?
Okay, let's
Oh,
see. Will you think of an answer first, or will I think of what my guitar is first?
Let's just rewind the last few minutes where I was trying to answer that and edit it out.
so Wayne, you mentioned that you were married. What kind of like home life do you have?
Oh, I think a person's home life should be their sanctuary, a place of peace. It's my wife and I live here. We've been married 44 years. We live here at home together, and our mother, old gamer Layne, and mine, and our other siblings. Our mother lives here with us, and I tell her she has her apartment, and we have ours because so many times I don't see her that much during the day. And but yeah, she's a joy to have here. She's an angel, and my wife as well. So yeah, it's just I'd love to just be able to be home all the time, just stay home all the time. But it's a peaceful home life.
Excellent, excellent. And Lane, what about you?
Man, sir, I know you noticed that Wayne's racking those points up tonight with his wife, isn't he?
Complimenting the mother-in-law and complimenting the missus, and she's not even in the room. Yes,
Oh,
he's getting
mercy.
the big brownie points.
Right.
You're embarrassing me.
So, former girl Kay and I call her that because I'm on Foreman Simulator so much. We've been married since 1982, and actually, we have 4 sons, and we actually got to go see one of our grandsons play baseball. It was opening day today, and we got to go to that game. So I got a little bit more sun. Tell you what, that was a great time. That was a great time. So we have 4 sons. They're all grown. And we have 2 grandsons, 4 years old and 5 years old. And our granddaughter, Brinley, she just turned 11. And she's just brilliant too. I mean, if I had pictures close by, I'm sure I'd pull them out and start showing you.
Well, it sounds like you two gentlemen are winning at life, so congratulations to both of you.
Thank
So
you, sir.
Thank you.
that leads me to my next question, which is, how is it that you balance the kind of home life? You mentioned that you're retired, so there's not a, so much a work life anymore, but how do you find the right balance between the home life and the creating life?
Who'd
Wayne,
you,
we'll,
you want
Wayne,
to
we'll
say,
start
Wayne?
with you.
I'll start with
Thank
me.
you.
Oh, balance. Hey, I believe balance is key in anything in life. You have to find a balance where you can have priorities. Just wow, you just have to have a schedule, not a schedule, really, but you have to make time for what you want to do. Like, it's important to spend time with your loved ones, with your family, and make time for that every day. That's important. Uh, it's important to take time out for leisure, like we're talking about playing golf or things like that. You have to come apart sometimes, or you'll come apart. I heard that saying a long time ago. But yeah, and I would love to be able to game more, to stream more, to work on content more than we do. But as far as how to do it, just have to work it out. Just have to work out what's best for you. Just work out what's best for you and go with it.
Absolutely. And Layne, what about you? How do you find the balance between the home life and creation life?
Yes, sir. I appreciate the question. Thank you. Uh, 20-year-old me, I wouldn't have been able to. Uh, 20-year-old me and 20-year-old Kay, we wouldn't have been able to balance home life and gamer life. And there's probably some young people, and maybe even older too, that really have a struggle in balancing all that out.
Yeah,
Because we're such needy people, and especially when it comes to those in our home, and sometimes we just need all their time. But 62-year-old me and my wife, after many decades together, it's good that I can get time uh, to create content and spend time with those in the stream. But you know what? I'm also at the same time always asking her, come get in the stream with us, come jump on here with us, and I think that's going to be fantastic when she does.
See, I try the same thing with my wife, but she looks at me like I've got three heads on, and
gives you a sideways look.
just like, are you crazy? I'm not getting on there.
And does she then counteract with saying, "Why are you getting?"
So
She
try
doesn't.
it, you'll like it.
She doesn't ask me that at all. She knows it's great for me, but it's going to be great for me too. Whenever she says, "Oh yeah, let me hop on there with you."
So it's funny because I've explained this many times on the channel before, but she always asks me, how is it that you go from kind of this one personality, in real life and the complete opposite personality behind the camera?
Yes.
Because for anybody who knows me in real life knows that if I get into like a crowded situation where there's multiple people and whatnot, I tend to kind of stay quiet and kind of introverted. But
Yes.
behind the camera, I can sit here and talk, have a conversation, and just go all night basically.
Right.
So she always kind of finds it really hard because she's very similar. She's very introverted as well. So it's kind of a good thing that we found each other. But anyways, yeah, she always kind of gives me a hard time. She's like, "Well, how are you so like bubbly and whatnot behind the camera, but you're so
Right.
quiet in real life?" And so I tell her I have
Right.
no idea how I do it. So Layne,
Well,
let's
that's
start with
great for
you on
you.
let's start with you on this next one. What
Yes.
inspires and motivates you?
Inspires and motivates me. Well, one thing that inspires and motivates me is my twin brother, Wayne. I remember years ago I gave him a card and it said to the first person I ever met. So he inspires me. Actually, I have a great support system with my family that inspires me. One thing that is big time motivating me and inspiring me are all these people that we meet in
Yes.
chat, people we meet in the streams, big time. I've said probably more than once, I wish we could just have a Discord barbecue, and that would be a great time.
That's excellent. And Wayne, what about you? What inspires and motivates you?
Hello, Gamer Lane said barbecue. I can't think of anything else now.
That does sound
So,
good.
What inspires and motivates me? What do you think the first thing I'm going to say is? What do y'all think? The first thing I'm going to say
I think he's
is
going to say his wife.
she's such a support system. She sure is. Old Gamer Lane, I remember that card. I appreciate that so much. And I mean, I'm just dittoing the same thing my brother said, because other content creators, people just as yourself, Dave, everybody who watches and participates, and yeah, all the viewers, that inspires me, motivates me, makes me want to keep going and growing. And I appreciate it so much. Thanks for that question. That's a good question.
Yeah.
Oh, no problem. Now, you've mentioned a few times here that you don't only focus on farming simulator content for your channel. What other kinds of games do you play on your channel?
Oh, wow. Who you want to answer first? If you don't want to,
So,
bro, I will, or you can. Go ahead.
yeah, I'll go ahead. It's tough going after you. You're so brilliant.
You're so awesome.
So, I mean, even when we're on other games, we tend to find farming somewhere. Like we're doing Ranch Simulator right now, and I'm so looking forward into getting some crops going on in Ranch Simulator.
Right.
So far, we've had a series going about 5 episodes, and I don't think we've done any arable crops, or we're talking about doing grapes, and we need to get some wheat going because we're spending so much just to keep the chickens fed. So we need to make that happen. But we do go to other games and simulators, RDR2 online. Well, I mean, the story mode is great, but it's single player unless they've made a change that I don't know about. Construction simulator, games like that. I've been talking to Wayne recently about Roadcraft is about to come out, and they have a demo right now, and we need to get on and make some content while the demo's available to us. And I'm sure you can think of some others, American Trucking Simulator, Microsoft Flight Simulator, different games, anything simulation, especially if it's co-op or multiplayer. I don't know why they don't make every game multiplayer. That'd be great, where everybody in the stream could just jump on if they want to. But I'll let you talk, Wayne. I have a bad habit of just talk.
Oh,
And
that's all good.
and that's old Gamer Lane. That was not young Gamer Lane.
Yeah, hunting simulator, add that to it. I love shooting that boomstick.
Oh yeah.
Game called Contractville. Did you say construction? Yeah, really like that. I mean, we have so many times we would want to start a stream or start a recording or whatever. At one time we created a wheel, put a lot of games on there. We'd have to spin the wheel to see what we were going to play because we just couldn't we couldn't decide. There were just so many. We want to do them all.
It'd be about like a husband and wife saying, "What do you want to eat for dinner?" And they'll say, "What do you want to eat for dinner?"
My wife always jokes back and forth with me in regards to that, and she always tells me that there ought to be a restaurant called I Don't Know.
Oh yeah,
You'd always know where to go.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
brilliant.
Well, let's go.
Brilliant. If I had a soundboard, I'd give your wife "Badat Da" right now.
So do you mainly focus on the simulators, or are there other games that you like to play as well?
It sure seems like we do. Yes, sir. It sure seems like we do, because so many times that's what we're going to, some type of simulation. That's what my granddaughter, I have 12 grandchildren. We were talking about that earlier. 10 granddaughters and 2 grandsons.
Whew.
But my oldest granddaughter, what she said one time, she said, Papa, she called me Papa. She said, "You really love those simulators, don't you?" And I said, "Yeah, I guess we do.
So do you, Wayne, we'll start with you on this one. Do you play like games outside like of the channel itself? And if so, what kind of games do you play that's kind of single player, things that are more for you?
Well, just wish I had more time, because I really enjoy playing games, but usually we're just on something co-op, playing together, and time just doesn't permit. But like I said earlier, I like those old retro games. Have a MAME emulator with a lot of ROMs that I'll play those, like Dig Dug or Kick or something like that. Just a lot of old school games that I enjoy, that I grew up playing, and but just don't hardly ever have emulators for different types. I just don't hardly ever have the time to do it, though. Ton of fun one to do though.
And Layne, what about you?
Yes, sir. I actually told Wayne maybe a month or so ago that we should get together and have a stream on some of those single player games, those old school games like Donkey Kong or Pac-Man or some of those.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
Even though they're not co-op, we could still make it work and have a good time.
yeah.
Uh, some of the other games I enjoy. I know there's a game MLB 25 The Show about to come out,
Oh
and
yeah,
our oldest
it's
son
good.
already told me that he's going to get that for me. He just said, "Do you want it for computer or Xbox or PC?" And I was all excited because I wanted it for PC. Then I found out it's not available for PC.
Oh mercy.
So I said, "You know what? My Xbox isn't next gen, but my PlayStation 5 is." So I guess I'll be doing some MLB The Show on PlayStation 5 or Madden. I really enjoy that. But like Wayne, I don't get a lot of time just to get on single player and play the game. But when I do, I enjoy it. But I'm trying to figure out a way to take a single player game and make it co-op. Not
Yeah,
necessarily where we're both playing it, but where we can both be on and actually with others in the stream as well. That'd be a good time.
yes sir.
I gotcha. No, that sounds like it'd be a really good idea, especially the ROM one, kind of a cool
Yeah,
little
yeah.
throwback.
Right,
Yes.
right.
Let's see. So, Layne, let's start with you on this one. Do you own any pets?
I do. We have 3 dogs. Right now we have, by the way, anybody want a dog? we, my wife wouldn't let me get rid of them. We have 3 dogs. The littlest one thinks she's the biggest one. It's a little Chihuahua, and she loves to bark. We have another dog, a Maltese. The Chihuahua's named Little Girl. The Maltese is named Precious, and we actually had another Maltese for 14 years, and she went to doggy heaven, and my wife was so hurt over that. And we actually ended up getting, I know we say rescue puppies, but this little poor puppy really was rescued. Kay wanted to take all of them because they were in such bad shape and not being taken care of. We left right from there and didn't even go home. We just went right to the vet and took the dog to the vet, little puppy, to the vet, and now we've had her, same kind of Maltese, and she actually named her Precious, and that helped her with the healing process. It didn't replace the other one, but it helped her, and she's a part of the family now. And then we have a 60-pound red heeler, and he's the biggest one, but he has the most anxiety. He's a great dog, lovable, but he has separation anxiety. And he's learned to us. He'll be right on our heels. He knows we're about to go somewhere, and he doesn't want us to go. I told Kay, I said, I guess we're going to have to make him a service dog so he can go with us when we go.
That or just get him the vest.
Right, and his
Right.
name's Dango. I actually named him after a character of a book or actually a series of books that I wrote. So his name Dango.
Oh, excellent. And Wayne, what about you? Do you own any pets?
Uh, well, we have owned a lot of pets through the years. It seemed like we always had dogs, but now it seems like we went from being a dog family to a cat family. My wife had a little dog, the sister of old gamer Lane's dog. I think she was
Yeah.
like 14 or 15, and about a month and a half ago, she's not with us any longer. But we had a cat that came up, and my granddaughter named her Sunflower. So now we have Sunflower, and we have 2 more cats that came up outside. My wife just keeps feeding them, so they're staying. And we have a couple of really original names for the 2 outside, a girl and a boy. It's Pretty Girl and Pretty Boy.
I love it. Love it. So, do you all tend to follow any content creators outside of the farming simulator sphere? And if so, who would be some of your favorites? Layne, let's start with you on this one.
Oh, mercy, sir. I have so many content creators that I follow. I could just scroll
Yeah.
on my phone or on my computer. There are a lot of content creators. I actually, from time to time, will go through there and try to thin it out because there, of course, you can't get to all of them and watch all of them. But anyway, a lot of farming simulator creators, and a lot of them maybe even in the stream right here tonight that I follow, and that's always a great time to jump in there and see their streams or their content they're putting on. Then there are some of the other ones that aren't farming that might do farming sometimes and may never do farming that I'll see. Some of them's big names that probably everybody or most people that get on social media have heard of, and some of them that don't. I tend to try to find content creators that don't have a lot of subscribers and subscribe. It makes me want to subscribe because I want to do what I can to help small content creators like us to get more likes and get more shares and get more subscribers and just to do whatever I can do, just my little part to help them out just by clicking a like button. I mean, it doesn't cost me anything, just free. Just reach down there and click a like button, but it can help the algorithm for their channel, even if it's just a little part. Anyway, I don't know if I answered that question or not, but I tried.
No, absolutely. And Wayne, what about you? Who are some of your favorite creators outside of the farm sim community?
Uh, well, I'd say BDD.
Oh yeah, BDD coming up in chat.
Hey, I've watched some big name creators a little bit, like Raptor, Jeff F. I watch some of their videos sometimes. I saw Crustu in chat a while ago. Why not gaming? Why not? Why not gaming? I love that name. Why not? And I was first I said I'm not going to name anybody because I'm going to forget somebody. I'm going to remember them later, and I'm going to wonder, oh my goodness, how did I do that? I should have had a V8. But yeah, I watch a lot of different content creators. Right now, I just can't really think. I'd have to take my phone out and look at it and say, oh yeah, that's what I watch.
Gotcha. So this next question has kind of tripped up a lot of people in these interviews. And it's the one that people, I think, enjoy the most, but dread the most as well. So Wayne, we're going to start with you on this one. If you can meet any three people, who would they be and why? And it could be throughout history, could be currently, current people. Who would they be?
Wow, any three people. Well, I'm thinking just 1 second. I also want to say because of Why Not, Dust Bunny, and I'm starting to discover a lot of other content creators as well, and I really appreciate that. Any three people throughout okay, they don't have to be historical figures that everyone like I would love to meet George Washington. He is a historical figure that everyone would know. I would really like to meet him. This is crazy because I was thinking about this today and I talked to my wife about it. I said, I really wish, because I didn't know either one of mine and old gamer Layne's great grandfathers on our dad's or our mother's side. And I hear my mother talking about her grandfather, which would be my great grandfather. I'd really love to meet him because it sounded like he was an awesome man. And the same for my dad's grandfather. I'd really like to meet him. So that's three people, but wow, I could name so many that I would really love if we could. That would be so awesome, wouldn't it? Great question.
Oh, yeah.
And Layne, what about you? Who are three people that you would like to meet, whether in history or current?
Yes, there are a lot of people that I would really like to meet. One, I can tell you two different groups before I answer the question that I'd like to meet. I would like to meet everybody, and I may have said this before on the stream. I'd like to meet everybody that's come through chat and said hello.
Oh, wow.
Or whatever they said. I'd like to meet every one of y'all. And the second group, I'd like to meet everybody that came to a stream or a recording and never showed up in chat, but still you were there. I'd like to meet them too. Some people in history now, I was thinking about, there are people, you said current or past, I think. And you said meet or see, because see, it could be somebody that I just would like to see again. If I answered the question that way, it'd be a completely different answer. I'd like to say, I'd like to see my daddy again. That's been gone for a decade. Such a great man. But I'd like to see, and I was thinking of George Washington too. That'd be great, Wayne. Other people, I'd like to meet somebody, and a lot of people probably think of actors or musicians or content creators or comedians or whoever. And I was talking about Stagecoach earlier, and it'd be great if I could meet somebody like John Wayne if he was still living. But it would really be sad if I met him and all of a sudden he wasn't really the great man, which I think he would be. I think he'd be as great of a person as we all have the image of him to be, or somebody like Chuck Norris, who actually doesn't. He has a ranch not too far from here, and he actually came to a basketball game in the district that we were working in back a while back, but. I wasn't at that campus, but anyway, that'd be great. I think my wife would like to meet him more than me. But I'm trying to name people that I think would really be as incredible as we think they are. But because I've heard stories about some of these big name people, and I try to just ignore them and not let the image of who I think they are be diluted. But anyway, that's just some of them.
Well, there's that saying that you never want to meet your heroes kind of thing because you've built them
Yeah,
up so high in your own head
that's right.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
it's very difficult for them to live up to that.
That's right.
And it's one of those where um, you have to like temper your expectations to make sure that you're not building somebody up so high
That's
that
right.
then they
right,
disappoint you, kind of
right.
thing. But
Yes.
but no, it's so the reason that I ask this question, I make sure that I ask this one to every single person I do the interviews with, is that it kind of gives us a kind of glimpse into the individual and who they value as somebody that they would want to bring into their circle or into their like into their sphere kind of thing.
Yes.
So it's just a really good question, but I know that a lot of people have a real difficult time answering it because there's so many options. There's so much,
Yeah,
that can
yeah,
be, put into that. You mentioned your father, you mentioned George Washington. I mean, there's such a huge dynamic between each answer that that it just kind of gives people a kind of understanding of who it is or what it is that you find as valuable. So
Yes.
very very good answers, and I appreciate you answering it.
Thank you,
So
sir.
Layne, this next one's starting with you. What was your first paying job?
Yes, sir. Oh, wow, that brings back memories. Uh, it's incredible. Memories are just incredible. I mean, here I can look back. I was a teenager, and my first paying job back then, I don't know if they still have full service attendants or people that come out and pump your gas and check your oil and wash your windshield, clean your windshield. But that's what I did. My very first paying job. I was pumping gas at a service station. People would pull in, drive up, and I would fill up their gas tank or give them however much gas they wanted and check the oil and all that. And that was many, many years ago.
See, I think that there's certain states where that's still a thing. I want to
Oh,
say New
okay.
Jersey does something like that because it's
Mm.
required by law. You're not
Wow.
allowed to get out of your car. Now that I
Right.
think I read somewhere where that was changing or was potential to change, and I remember specifically taking note of it because the reactions to it were just so over the top, or at least what I thought is over the top,
Wow.
because I lived in states where you always had to pump your gas. It was never,
Yes.
Right.
coming from a time where full service wasn't a big thing, or it was a almost requirement. You had to get out of your car to pump your gas. I was reading the articles of people saying, I don't know what to do. I'm afraid I'm gonna blow myself up. All these different kind of like
Wow.
really
Wow.
kind of over the top kind of responses, and it was just I thought it was rather hilarious
Yes, sir.
to read it. But Wayne, what about you? What was your first paying job?
Oh, wow. Well, first paying job. I know when we were younger, we would mow
Hmm.
yards and sell grit newspapers, remember, door to door. But then I
Right.
believe real first paying job, it's hard to think, but I know we worked for our dad. We talk about our dad a lot on our streams about he was a home builder and we worked with him from a young age. We'd go out on the job
Hmm.
site cleaning up. We'd start out just cleaning up the area. We're picking up little pieces of boards and whatever was left from them building the house. So we just progressed and got older. We started working, building and framing and cornicing from an early age. And our dad paid me and old gamer Layne and our other brother also. He's not even a year younger than us.
Hmm.
And we'd all work and he'd pay us to do that. And then a little later, I went to work, put in phone lines. I went to work as an iron worker, uh, just and just kept progressing and going along. but the earliest, I can't remember an earlier one besides working with for our dad, except for when we were really young, mowing lawns and selling those newspapers.
Excellent, excellent. So that is going to be the end of our first segment here. So again, I want to thank you gentlemen for coming on, and now we're going to go ahead and start reading the chat to see if we can find any questions from them. So
All
let me
right.
check this
Awesome.
just
It's
real
gonna be fun.
quick. Let's see. So I want to give a huge shout out to Dust Bunny. Dust Bunny, thank you so much for organizing some of these questions for us and
Yes.
send them over to me. So thank you very much.
Oh yes.
So the first question we got is from Ken Adlam. Ken, thank you so much for sending this in. Says, question, out of all the farming sims, which one is the best and why? So actually, let me change this just real quick so we kind of get some context to this. When did you start playing Farming Simulator? Wayne, when did you start?
Oh, I think FS19. I might have been on FS17, but I don't recall. I think it was, but I don't really recall. I'd have to look back. 17 or 19, one or the other.
Okay, and Layne, what about you? When did you start playing? Was it around the same time?
Thank you. Excellent question, Ken, and excellent follow-up. You're an awesome interviewer, Mr. BDD. I know I have all the way back to 17 in my library. May have played before then, but don't remember it at all. Couldn't tell you any of the maps or anything on there if I did, but I know in my library it goes back to 17.
Gotcha. So now let's go back and answer Ken's question. Out of the ones that you've played, so let's just go from 19 forward. Which one would you all consider the best? Layne, which one would you consider?
Absolutely. And that's really a loaded question too. It is because I know there are people out there that really love 19 or really love 17 or anyway, people can tell you the great things about each one, and people can probably sure tell you the things that they would like to see changed in some of them. I can find maps like New Woodshire in the past. I wish they would bring that to 25. And others. Now I'm having some good times in 25 also. I think the perfect answer to that would be if we could take a conglomeration of 17 and above, or maybe even find some things before then and put in there. I'm not trying to dodge your question, but I really don't have a favorite out of all of them. I could have a good time on any of them if I was just playing single player, just sitting in a room by myself and playing the game, simulating farming, or if I'm on with Old Gamer Wayne and a room full of people in the stream. I could have a good time with any of the farming simulators that I've been on. I really could.
Excellent. And Wayne, what about you?
As far as my favorite, I like 25, but there's some things that still need to be ironed out. I really like the maps we've been doing. I see they brought Silver Run Forest. I'm wanting to get on there and see how it is on 25. FS22, I really love. There's a lot of maps on there we played on, really love. Works good. Everything does what it's supposed to do. I'm wanting 25 to be my favorite. Right now, 22 is probably nudging it out just a little bit, but I do love 25 so far. It's wow. I say I love them all. Old Gamer Lane, excellent answer.
I
Excellent
like your
answer. But
answer.
I could get on any of them though and have a good time. Have a good time, especially if we were streaming, having people joining with us.
Absolutely. So, both of you, when you're doing your streams and whatnot, do you play on PC or are you on consoles?
PC.
PC?
Most of the time on PC.
Yeah, most of the time
when we do our
we're on
streams,
console.
when we do our streams, they're PC, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, the one thing I'll say, because Wayne, you had mentioned Silver Run Forest and wanting to check that out, I would highly, highly recommend that map to a PC player far more than a console player. And the reason being is the extremely high megabytes to download it.
Saw that.
And there's also required mods for it and all that stuff, which is just taking up more space. So yeah, it's one of those that I would recommend it for any and all PC players, not so much for a console player, just because of the limited amount of space that we have. But let's see. So outside of that, let's look at the next question. Again, Dust Bunny, thank you so much. Next one we have is from Dust Bunny. Actually, says, let's see, Mr. Old Gamer Layne. I'm currently reading a series by Jane Carroll or Karen, Jane Karen. It's called the Mitford Years Novels.
Mm,
I haven't heard of that one.
I haven't either.
Let's see, next one is from Taco de Groot. Taco, thank you so much for sending this in.
Taco.
Says, some of my favorite writers are Michael Crichton. Crichton, there you go. David Baldacci, Dean Koontz, James Patterson, and Lee Childs. Very nice. Let's see. Let me make sure I'm getting all of these. We got Benji. How's it going? Thank you so much for sending in this question. Says, do you guys do any content with your pets?
Hey, that's a
Layne,
good
let's start with
idea.
you.
I'd like to say thanks for the comments on the books. Some of those authors I've read, some of them it's been several years since I read them, and it really brought back memories. Some of them are really quick page turners. You just turn one page after another, and I've seen where some of them had movies made after them. Content with our pets, that would be great. I know there's one content creator, Timar. He does all kinds of content, and I think he actually probably even has a channel just devoted to his pets. Haven't done that. I mean, they've been in our streams, whether they wanted to or we wanted to or not. My filter just can't get all the barking out sometimes. Our 60-pound red heeler I was talking about with the separation anxiety, he does not like delivery trucks. I don't know what the story is behind that. Must have been something before he came to be part of our family. But a delivery truck drives by, he just goes to barking. And so you may hear him sometime on the stream, but that's a good idea. We need to figure out how to make that happen.
And Wayne, what about you?
No, we don't have any content right now with the pets. We do have a folder in our Discord for pets, thanks to, I don't even remember who put it in there, Blue Collar, Dust Bunny, or somebody knows why not. Who, do you know who put that in there? I don't know, but whoever did, shout out to you. And some of our members have been putting photos of their pets in there, and I've been loving looking at their pets.
I think Cynical suggested it, and then Blue Collar probably did.
yeah.
I'm not sure, but that's my guess.
Yeah, Cynical Sloth has some beautiful animals. I was just about to shout that out. That's cool. And then John Deere, his dogs also, and everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent, excellent. Now I think I'm not seeing any more questions in the comments. So again, thank you everybody who sent in the questions. And if you are wanting to ask any more questions, make sure that you tag them with double question marks, so that way it just makes it easier to find. So thank you all so very, very much. Now we're going to move on to our second segment. This is called the Meat and Potatoes, emphasis on potatoes. This is where we're getting to know you more as the creators that you are, rather than you personally. So let's see. I think the first question I got, because I think the first one is a little bit self-explanatory. You do so much in regards to like the simulator kind of fields. Has there ever been a game where you've gotten so deep into it that you just can't walk away? You just can't walk away, and that you just want to go back to it. Layne, let's start with you on this one.
Oh, yeah. Just thinking recent history, I'm sure there are many through the years. But just recent history, I'm sure there have been simulators or games that maybe were creating content, and after a while, viewers are wanting to go to something else. But I'm still into the game. I'm still wanting to play the game, and I might be tempted to just keep playing it and maybe not creating content, but just staying in the game. And there's one actually that I can think of, but we left the stairs backwards in Contractville. And and I really want to get back to it. I really do. I enjoy it every time I go to it. And we left Space Station unfinished in Construction Simulator.
Oh,
And I really want to get back to it, but those are two of them that we got on and just kept going back and going back, and we've had some great times in streams with both of those as well. I'm going to go and for just a minute while Wayne's answering, and I'll be right back on. It won't take me long at all.
Sounds
and
good.
I'm going to answer. All right, is it okay? I was going to answer, and Old Gamer Layne was going to say, "Oh yes, I'm going to remind him of this when he comes back." We did a series a couple of years ago, I believe it was a year or two ago, on Farming Simulator. We did a series called "Rich Farmers Broke Farmers," where they had a wager. Well, it was just an awesome series. It was a ton of fun, and it was hard to just not keep going back to it because we were having such a good time with the role play and with the different characters that were involved. So yeah, Rich Farmers Broke Farmers in our library still. I believe, I think it is. Now I'm gonna have to look and see.
I don't think it is. I don't think it
It
is.
might not be because before we were Old Gamers Layne and Wayne, we had started out at first with another brand, and we switched to this, and this has been awesome. But yeah, we're gonna have to recreate that. That was a ton of fun.
It was, except for the voiceovers. That was kind of challenging.
So one thing I meant to ask in the original segment, and I'll go ahead and bring it back to it real fast. So kind of give you a quick story from me personally. I knew a couple of twins growing up, and they were Simon and Clint. Good couple of guys. We used to be real good friends with them growing up and whatnot. But they had a really bad habit of because they were identical twins, and it was incredibly difficult to tell them apart. And it was only those who spent a lot of time with them could really kind of see the small differences between the two. They would very much often, play pranks on other people, claiming one was one person, one was the other, and all that kind of stuff.
We've never done that. Never done that.
Never done that. I have no stories about, about going as each other or anything like that. I kind of alluded to it earlier about hopping into each other's classrooms, but no stories along those lines.
I know years ago. Oh, go ahead, Wayne.
Oh, I was just going to talk about how several times, I don't know how many times, one case in particular, this manager that my wife, she used to work for, he called her one night, and no, this is a different time. Let me tell about the one where the lady called her, and she was a manager, and she said, "I'm going to have to ban your husband from the store where she was working." And she said, "Why is that?" And the manager said because every time you get off work, not long after you leave the store, he's coming in the store with another woman, with another lady. And my wife said, "Oh no!" And finally, she found out. I think y'all might have, Old Gamer Layne, you and your wife might have went up there with us. And she said, "This is why you're thinking it, because it's his twin brother and his wife. It's not really my husband."
Oh, I could imagine just the amount of trouble that could follow
my
each one of
goodness.
you in that regard.
Mercy. Mm.
Layne, do you have
I know
any
years
stories
ago-
like that, or?
Years ago, we hadn't been married very many years, and my wife had stepped away or something, and I wore a cowboy hat, and anyway, whenever she came back, I had switched hats with Wayne. I'd put his cap on, he'd put my hat on, and she came over and sat in his lap, and it didn't take her long. She figured out it wasn't him, it was me. Now, 62-year-old Gamer Layne couldn't get away with that, but back then, it created a memory.
Yeah, it was one of those that old Simon and Clint, they would do this stuff all the time, just sitting there playing pranks. They were very much the kind of practical jokesters of the classroom, and they would sit there and they'd be wearing each other's hats, or there was one time they completely changed out of each other's clothes and literally
my
wandered
goodness.
around the entire school, because this is back in like high school. They went out and they switched each other's clothes and they just went to each other's class because we all had different schedules and all that stuff.
Wow.
So there was only like one or two where they would actually have class together. But for the rest of the time, they'd be in separate rooms and whatnot. So they sat there one day and they switched out of everything and then started going to each other's classrooms. And because I was good friends with them, I recognized that, Simon, who was supposed to be in the one class I was in at that point, it wasn't him, it was Clint. And I look over at him and I kind of give him a nudge and I'm like, what are you doing in here? And
Busted.
and he looks at me, he's like, what are you talking about? He was trying to play it off and whatnot. And it's like, you're not supposed to be in this room. He basically looks at me, he's like, shh.
Now, we have had twins in classrooms before where if they were, if I had both the twins in the same class, it'd be easier to tell them apart. But I've had twins before also where I would have one class period and another. And, Gamer Layne probably had the same thing happen to him. It was more difficult for me to not call them the wrong names.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
While I stepped away, I walked over. Started to open my guitar case because I wanted to remember what is my guitar. And I've had this guitar a couple of years. As soon as I went to open my guitar case, I didn't even open it, and I remembered that it's an Epiphone.
gotcha,
Really
gotcha.
nice guitar.
So, how long have you all been creating content for YouTube? Layne, let's
What's
start
it
with you.
been? A couple of years? I'm thinking it's been a
Yeah.
couple of years because there
Yeah.
was a while where we were just on together and like we said earlier, continuing to say we ought to be recording this. And then we finally did. But I think it's been a couple of
Yeah.
years. Does
Yeah.
that sound right?
Yes, sir.
And has your content creation, have they always been together as brothers, or if you started separately and then came together? How's that all worked?
It's always been together.
Always together? Nice.
Yes, sir.
Let's see. Uh, Wayne, let's start with you on this one. What was one thing that you never expected when starting your channel? Some examples of it. It's the sense of community, any unexpected backlash, things like that.
I say always together, but Old Gamer Layne has made a few videos by himself, like whenever I wasn't available. I know he's got a few of those on the channel. What was the question again? Some things that when we started the channel, that might have been unexpected
Yeah. So
as
what were
time went
some?
on.
Oh, so what were some of the what were some unexpected things that have happened to you that you never expected when you first started your channel? Some examples I always give are like the sense of community, any unexpected backlash, things like that.
Yes, it's community big time. Wow, it's just awesome how you can
Oh, yeah.
take time, create content or stream, and then folks show up and support you, and we really appreciate that so much. One thing that's unexpected, and we ought to take advantage of more. We have a little bit, but is like we'll start to prepare to stream or to make a recording, and it just takes a lot of time into preparing to even start. Like we just need to make behind the scenes recordings. We have a time or two, but we need to make more of those, I think, because they're really entertaining. I mean, they're entertaining to us. I believe viewers would like to watch it as well. Just what it takes to put content together. It's a lot of fun, a lot of work though.
Absolutely. And Layne, what about you? Was there any kind of unexpected things that have happened, when you're first starting the channel?
Oh, a lot of unexpected things. A lot of learning opportunities. I'll tell you, I'm so thankful to have somebody like Wayne in my corner. There are a lot of people that I don't know if they have somebody like Wayne in their corner or not. But when it comes to like technical aspects of it, it's great that I have somebody I can bounce ideas off of or talk to when it comes to creativity. Somebody that I can run things through with and brainstorm. things with. I mean, just something as simple as OBS. If you haven't done OBS, it might be foreign to you. But
Right.
after you get in a little while, then you can figure it out. Just some of that stuff that I didn't even expect. Hey, we're going to have to know how to do this, and we're going to have to be able to do that. But it's a fun journey,
It
even when
is.
you're trying to learn something new, and it really helps. I know there have been times where we've done things like hook up fertilizer machine backwards to our tractor or something. Wonder why can't we get this thing to work? But people in chat are so helpful to jump in and
Yeah.
say, "Hey, won't you do it this way or that way?"
Yes.
It's so beneficial. And while I'm answering this question, I was just triggered to think. I told somebody on a stream the other night. I told Dust Bunny. I said I'm going to mention to BDD Game that we need to do
Uh,
he needs to do a Dust Bunny interview. So anyway, I wanted to make sure that I made that
yes.
public.
That's an awesome idea.
Yeah, absolutely. I know I've talked to her about it, and one of those I would love to be able to do it, but we'll have to see how things go.
Yes.
So let's see. So you you all play a wide variety of simulators and just games in general.
Right.
Right.
How long have you been gaming, just in general? Not necessarily the simulators or creating content, but how long have you been gaming?
I
Layne, let's
can
start with you.
remember. I can remember being in fourth grade, and they had this great big computer in one room. Probably the first time I ever even knew about a computer. And they would let us one day a week take turns going in that room and playing a game on that computer. So that was fourth grade, and it's been a long time since I've been in fourth grade, but I was gaming back
Yeah.
then.
Yeah. Yeah. We're starting out with Atari 2600
Yeah,
and then, wow, moving on Nintendo and
yeah.
PlayStation. Wow. I mean, well, as long as I can remember, I think I had a joystick in my hand when I was born. I was playing games. I was just always, we had a game room in our town that we live in way back when we were teenagers, maybe preteens, and we were going down there and playing those arcade games. Ton of fun. Brings back. I wish there was a way to go back in time and know what we know now. And wow, wow, wow. But yes, a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think game rooms back then were not really the same as game rooms in modern times.
Right, right.
I was in a game room called the Mean Machine, shooting pool,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
one of my friends came in and brought this girl that I'd never met, and introduced her to me, and that's former girl K today, and
Yeah,
that was
that's right.
back in the 1980s.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Now, what would you consider to be your favorite game of all time? Wayne, let's start with you.
Oh, wow. There's no way I can answer that question. Wow. Wow, there are too many. There are too many. I mean, we can't even decide which game to play a lot of days because there's so many we want to play. But I tell you what, I really had a fascination with Donkey Kong. I said that earlier whenever I was younger.
Hmm.
I just loved just playing that game, putting the quarters in the machines and playing it. And it just brought so much joy, so much fun, so much enjoyment. And for present day, wow, the quality of the simulators and the games that there are now, it's just so top notch that wow, it's just, I mean, like Giants and other companies, they just make such good simulators. I mean, the equipment you have, the tractors, the harvesters, all just wow, like Foreman Simulator, love Foreman Simulator, but there's so many others we love also.
Yeah,
Excellent. Lane, what
absolutely.
about you? Do you have a favorite of all time, or?
Well, I can probably answer that question. And later on, I might say, well, I didn't answer that right. But right now, for the present moment, there are a lot of simulators or games we can get on. And every time you get on it, you're doing the same thing. And it's really fun. It's a fun, same thing. And you're having a great time, but you're doing the same thing. But when it comes to farming simulator, we're
Yeah,
farming, but you can go on there. You might be herding sheep one night and cutting down trees the next night and planting crops or plowing or harvesting. You could do something different on and on and on. Many, many days
yeah,
you could go on there and do something different. So for this present moment, I'd say farming simulator. Of course, that's not saying that the other games aren't special
right.
and aren't valuable when I get to spend time on them because they are. But for right now, that's the answer I came up with.
I gotcha. No, and that makes a world of sense as a fellow content creator and player of Farming Simulator. That's obviously something special for for
Right.
myself to be able to play this game night in, night out, day in and day out.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's definitely something special.
Can I say
So,
one more thing about that question?
of course.
There was a game a few years ago, Gamer Lane myself played called Wild West Online. Remember Wild West Online, bro?
Oh
And
yeah.
we really loved that game. I mean, it was like PvP, and we normally are not PvP players for the most part. But yeah, that was a ton of fun. But then something happened. Developers changed, and they changed the game, and it just was no longer the same. So it didn't bring the same level of satisfaction to us. But for the time that we did play it, the couple of years we did play it, we really enjoyed it.
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's not one I'm familiar with. Was that a one specific to PC or?
On PC, yes, sir.
Gotcha. Okay, so yeah, there was a very small window of time where I was a PC player, and then I've always been a console player from way back in the Atari days.
Yes, sir.
And I did make the leap at one point, but then just I think something happened to the computer that I was playing on, and I never picked it back up ever since because it's just so much of an investment to be able to
Understand.
buy into one of those.
It
Yeah.
is.
And especially when you consider, you need, at bare minimum a certain spec in order to have, a decent, experience with it.
Yes, sir.
So, Layne, let's start with you on this one. How much of your day consists of either playing, well, let's start with playing Farming Simulator, and then we'll move into how much of your day consists of making the content for it.
Right. Well, most of the time, if I'm playing Farming Simulator, I'm creating content or preparing to create content. It'd be great to just take time to play, but I really enjoy creating content and being on streams more than I do just playing it. I don't know if that's a unanimous answer or not. I don't know how other people feel about that, but I enjoy playing it whenever I'm streaming or creating content. And but to answer the question, some days I may not get to it at all, and when I do, maybe anywhere from 1 hour to 4 hours, depending on like if we're streaming, we can go 2 or 3 hours on a stream. I mean, I wonder about streams sometimes. How can you be on a stream for 2 or 3 hours until you get involved in it? Just like tonight, we've been on probably a
Right.
couple hours, and it seems like we're just hanging out and enjoying a Saturday night.
No,
Right.
absolutely. And especially when you consider something like a farming simulator, you could
Mhm.
spend 2, 3, 4 hours doing one job on one field
Yeah. Yes,
kind of
sir.
thing. Then you get into the whole dynamics of doing multiple jobs all at the same time.
Hmm.
It's amazing where the time can go.
Right.
It is.
So, Wayne, what about you? How much of your day consists of playing versus making the content?
Well, not near enough because, like old Gamer Lane said, when we're playing, we're streaming, working on content. Well, I know used to I would stream some, old Gamer Lane would stream some. Somehow I don't know how it transitioned, but he started just every time making the thumbnails and getting everything prepared and getting it set up. And I'd be on Discord with him while we're working to get prepared. And I got OBS hooked back up. I just need to set up my scenes and sources. But as far as Farming Simulator, how often I play each day, not near enough. I think old Gamer Lane just said the same thing I'll be saying. Just wow, it's hard to get on for just an hour because you're just getting
Mhm.
started before you know it, time's gone.
Right.
And time flies.
No, absolutely. So, y'all said that you started playing roughly around 2017 for Farming Simulator, even though that you don't necessarily remember it a whole lot. So let's kind of walk through the individual. Let's starting with 19, moving to 22, and then currently to 25. Layne, let's start with you. What would you consider to be your most and least favorite maps, starting on FS19, then 22, and then 25?
Yeah, I wish my memory was good enough to answer that question as far as the maps go. There have been some really good maps. I could say my favorite map, but of course, when I'm on another one, I enjoy that too. But my favorite map that I've been on is Big Flats, Texas. I really like that map a lot. I don't know if it's just because of the times that we spent creating content and so many people out on the farm for so many days in a row every week, or if it was just because the map was that good. It's probably more because it was such a good time
Yeah.
with people in different time zones on their farming, and took a took a map with no form except the ones that were on the base game, and built our own form on there. And it was such a great time on a dedicated server. So Big Flats, Texas there. As far as, and I remember New Woodshire, me and Wayne spent a lot of time on there. I don't even know if we created content or not, but we spent a lot of time on there. I remember one time just destroying a field because I was trying to terraform back in the early days. I've gotten to where I can do it better now, but it was a shame. I ended up selling that field, went back by there later, and the person I sold it to didn't change it. It was still in pretty bad shape. But as far as the worst map, there might be some people in chat that could tell me some bad maps, but I can't remember them.
And Wayne, what about you? What would you consider be your most and least favorite map for Farming Simulator? If you can do the 1922 and 25,
There's
then
no
fine.
way
But
I can. I can't remember. I do know that I really did enjoy Big Flats, Texas, but No Man's Land. Whenever
Oh yeah,
we
Farm
did
Empire.
that was a really fun series.
Oh
But also
yeah.
there was a map that me and Old Gamer Lane did a lot of mining on, that were we had
Yeah.
these trucks set up where they would run a course and they would go get the ore, several different types of ore that we would have. And we did a lot of mining, and I don't remember the name of that map. I wish I could
Oh,
recall the name of the map we did that on, but that was a ton of fun.
yeah.
gotcha. I mean, or as well, you know what? I'm not even gonna go there because it's possible that you're on a PC map that I'm just not familiar with. Um, I was going to say that it sounds like it's potentially like a Zero Edo map, like a Black River or something like that, where there's a mine or something like that. But
Right. I don't
because you're
recall.
on PC, there's a huge, like a much bigger dynamic that I could just
Yes,
be,
sir.
stabbing in the dark.
Right.
So so Layne, would you say that Big Flats, Texas, which is the one that you named out specifically, if you had the power to say bring a map to FS25 and then poof, it's there, would that be the map?
Right now, most definitely. That'd be great.
Okay.
I don't
And
even know if there are any plans to bring it to 25, but it'd be great if they did.
Wayne, what about you? Is there a map that if you had the power to snap your fingers and poof, it's there in FS25? Would
Well, if somebody could wave a magic wand and think of the map that I'm trying to think of, I've been trying to think of for a while, a couple of months. I can't find it. But also, they put one on that I want to check out, that I've been wanting to check out, Silver Run Forest. That's I'm really wanting to check it out because it's a ton of fun in FS22, and I'm looking forward to getting on there.
No, absolutely. Yeah, Giants did a fantastic job, and I did a map tour on it. Like I was mentioning earlier, how I don't recommend for console players, and that's really I shouldn't say it like that because it is a gorgeous map. It is absolutely beautiful. It comes at a price, so I wanted to
Right.
kind of adjust what I was saying earlier. Going from I don't recommend it, I do recommend it, but it's going to come at a cost.
Yes.
Right.
So how do I want to ask this next question? So, do you all follow some of the farming simulator news and stuff that's happening nowadays? Like, do you keep up
Uh,
to date with things that are happening in the news?
I try. And then there's a Discord member on our channel, Blue Collar. He puts a lot in our Discord about current Forum Sim news, and I appreciate that. And now that we've discovered your channel, that's going to really be beneficial.
Oh, well, thank you. So based on the information that you've heard up to this point, has there been any announcements for maps or anything like that that you're very excited about coming up in the future? Wayne, let's start with you on this one.
Yeah, that's what I was just trying to think of, but I just haven't here the last week or so. I just haven't been keeping up with it near like I want to. I've just been so distracted by other things here lately. And I saw something earlier just for a second that caught my attention. I'm wanting to look into it more about what's coming or what is, and I might not even know right now because I haven't checked into it enough here recently.
Okay, and Layne, what about you? Do you keep up with the kind of farm sim news? And if so, is there a map that you've heard of that's coming in the future that you would be interested in? Interested in?
Something I'm interested in, and I don't know the current answer, but something I'm interested in is, are they making it better for console players on 25? And I know we've had people talking about the login in 25
Yeah.
about how they would just stay on 22. So I'm wondering, have they addressed any of that or what their plans are? But I don't know currently the answer to that.
So I mean, my experiences so far in regards to logging and stuff like that, I was actually highly impressed because I did a bit on my live stream there, and it's now known as Oak Bridge Farm. Um, but what I was really highly impressed with specifically was the wood chippers. I don't know if you all used the wood chippers in years past, but
Yeah.
the grabbing mechanism for the wood chippers in previous iterations would sit there and just throw the logs out from them, or it would just sit there and just
Had that
wouldn't
happen.
actually grab them or and do stuff like that. It seems like, at least again with my limited experience with them, seems like that's gotten a lot better. The one kind of element about the logging per se that is more difficult in my opinion in FS25 versus previous iterations is it seems like there's more use of the quote unquote deco trees, like the American elms, like the not the
Right.
pine trees that can be just easily harvested. So you're having
Right.
to do a lot more of those cutting, hacking, and slicing of the tree to get it to where it's then either transportable, movable, or anything like
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah.
that's about the my take on it per se.
Right.
So let's
I
see.
mean, we've cut down some American elms and hooked a winch to them and brought them to the sawmill.
With the limbs still on there because couldn't delimb them.
So I'm guilty of doing the same exact thing. It's one of those that I've even gotten to the point where, like behind the scenes, I'll sit there and take the tree, load it into the back of a truck trailer, a back of a semi truck with the bunks, and just take it the whole tree by itself because I'm so far on the other side of the map that I can't just travel with it in any good
Right.
way. That's the only way I can do it, and I'll turn off traffic just so I don't have to contend with things. It's ridiculous, the leaps that you'll make behind the scenes in order to present the final product.
Right.
It creates a visual though when you put it that way.
Oh, there was because I'm doing a series right now with my cousin, my real life cousin,
Oh,
and
great.
him and I have been going back and forth about how to proceed this, and we ended up buying the sawmill, and we've been loading it up with all sorts of trees, and the vast majority of the trees, because we're on Riverbend, are those deco trees. There's very few of the pine trees that are just easily
Right.
harvestable and stuff like that. So we're sitting there trying to decide how are we going to attack the whole making the farmyard our own,
Uh-huh.
and we ended up diving into it, and that's when we very quickly realized that we're going to sit there and spend hours or days just on a small slab of land just to get
Oh, mercy.
them delimbed enough to be able to take them
Mhm.
out to the sawmill. So we're like, well,
Yeah.
why don't we just take the whole tree? And the very first time we decided to do this, we ended up loading a whole bunch of trees all in once because we want to make as little trips as possible.
Right.
And the amount of spidering out from the trailer was just next level. It was quite ridiculous when everything was said and done, and it
Be
kept
a
getting
good thumbnail.
it kept getting hooked on every little thing going down the road. And this is all
Oh
like
my
happening
goodness.
in the background, because we're recording, but we're just getting the job done and then gonna
Right.
Yeah.
cut back in afterwards. So needless to say, it was good times.
Oh yeah.
So Layne, before
Yes.
FS25 released, what feature were you the most excited over?
The most excited, I was excited for the ground deformation, but I think the thing I was looking forward to the most was the weather elements. Probably a lot of people could say
Yeah.
that.
Sure.
And we've got some good thumbnails and had some great times with things like tornadoes, but there are some things I would change about it if I could. I'd like to see structures
Yeah.
damaged in there and things like that. But that's really what I was looking for the most too.
And Wayne, what about you? What was some of the features that you were most excited about?
Pretty much same. I was looking forward to ground deformation to see how it was going to work because, like, when we did the series on Farm Empire on No Man's Land, we used a Merlot turbo farmer and dug a pond for old
Hank and March.
Hank and Marge. I was wanting to call him Ralph. Old Hank and Marge. And it was a time. We had fun. We had a lot of fun digging that pond, making that series. But it was definitely a lot of work. And so I was looking forward to seeing if it was going to be easier on FS25. See how it works.
Mhm.
But the weather, those tornadoes, they sound good. I do want
Oh
to
yeah.
see some. I do want to see a tractor being thrown or something, but it sounds good.
Or a cow. No, not a
Oh
cow.
no!
I'm just thinking of a
Oh
movie.
no! Oh,
It's
we
like
need
the
to
movie
move
Twister.
on.
Yes.
Right, right.
One of
We have
the
debris.
one of the favorite sayings my wife and I have is whenever we're driving around and we happen to drive by a cow pasture and whatnot, and a whole load of cows, my wife will look over to me and she's like, "Cow, another cow." I look back at her and say, "I think that's the same cow." But so Layne, we'll start this one with you. So going back to the features, what feature were you most excited about, but then quickly soured on after you were actually able to get a hold of it?
Oh man, I apologize.
I know that one.
I don't. I can't think of anything that I was excited about. And then once I got into it, I didn't appreciate it. Maybe
I could help your memory.
appreciate it.
Remember whenever I was excited about the logging? Remember when we went to do that logging contract and
Oh
that
yes,
piece of
most
equipment that
I
just
think that was
wasn't
me. I think
functioning?
that was user error. I'll blame
I
that
don't
on
think
me.
I was. I don't. That's going back to something you thought you were doing terrible, but everybody wouldn't agree.
And
I
I
don't
was
think
in
it
a
was our
live
user error.
I was in a live stream and I couldn't make this piece of equipment work.
It was the equipment's fault.
Gotta blame the equipment, not the user. Trust me, I get it. What's one thing that's not in Farming Simulator that you really wish was? Wayne, let's start with you on this one.
Oh wow. One thing that's not. Wow, that's something because some games that we play, that'd be an easy answer, but something that's not in the current version of Farming Simulator
Correct.
that I wish was in there. Wow. Well, we have well, I'll tell you one thing I wish. I wish that cross-platform for consoles and PCs were all equal. I wish, like, somebody gets on with us, we could keep all the same mods and we could ride along in the same vehicles with console players and PC players. And I really wish, I wish it was equal.
I gotcha.
That's not just
Oh, yeah.
specifically just Farmer Simulator, but I wish it was on there for sure.
Hmm. Absolutely.
And Layne, what about you? Is there one thing that you wish was in Farming Simulator that just isn't?
I'd like to say things like buffalo ranches or more in-depth horse ranches, but there are probably some aspects of all that in there. I think one thing, if I could change it, would be where more people could get on together. It's great. I mean, there aren't very many games or simulators I've seen where this many can get on together, like
Yeah.
Farming Simulator. I mean, there are some, but it'd be great if just everybody that wanted to could just come in and jump in and form together. I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
And maybe I don't know. I don't want to start trying to add survival aspects or something to farming. More. Uh, but it'd be great. Maybe you could set up your own farmers market, and other players can come in and contribute to it, or get good from it. I don't know. Just a quick thought.
Gotcha. And y'all mentioned that you tend to specialize more in the kind of simulator aspects. To name a few, you mentioned ranch simulator, construction simulator, farming simulator, obviously, uh, and many others that you've gone through before. Now, have you or do you play any other style of like the quote unquote simulator games? And ones I'm thinking of specifically are the kind of like almost like survival simulators. One that I can think off the top of my head, I think it was called Into Deep. So to kind of give you the full picture of it, what it was is that you were a person who was on a plane over the middle of the ocean somewhere, and something happened, plane goes down, you survive the crash, and now you're out in the middle of the ocean. And you eventually make your way to an island, but you then have to survive, and you're having to craft, and you're having to build and create structures, and figure out how to farm water, and eat coconuts and all that kind of stuff. Going into the ocean to get getting certain things, avoiding sharks, avoiding predators, so on and so forth. Are those are those styles of games ones that you're into as well, or are you more just into the actual, like what we mentioned before, the construction, farming, so on and so forth?
You might ought to go first because I'll have a long answer.
Yeah, I figured you might, because I know Old Gamer Lane really likes the ones with the survival aspect, and I do too. Now we either played that In Too Deep or something just like it, but then it also makes me think of Sunken Land a little bit. Boy, that was pretty challenging at first when you first start
Mhm.
that with the breath aspect. But
Right.
we were on some Old Gamer Lane might remember where we would do just what you were saying. But yeah, I enjoy games like that. Old Gamer Lane, he can probably answer a lot better about the survival games because he's played them longer than I have. But yeah, I enjoy it. I don't like zombies. I don't. I know. I'm sorry, y'all. A lot of people do love zombies, but old Dutch Extreme, he probably still laugh at me if he thought about that time we were on Ark and I was on this flying dinosaur and I fell down in a pit of a bunch of really bad. Oh, I screamed like a little boy or a little girl or something. And Old Gamer Lane and Dutch Extreme came to my rescue. But yeah, but go ahead, bro. Go ahead. I'm just rambling now.
That was an awesome time. I think Dutch Extreme came to your rescue quick and got you out of that fix. What an awesome memory. That was awesome. I was actually going to talk about survival games, and Dutch Extreme came to mind. He's over in the Netherlands, and he's been a viewer and actually a friend in Discard and gamer with us for a while. He was actually in Big Flats, Texas, back
Yeah,
in the day with us, and it could have been Big Flats, Georgia, or Big Flats, Florida, or Big Flats, Missouri, or wherever. It was a good map, not just because it had Texas on it, even though
right.
we're from Texas, and that's good too. Uh, but I really enjoy survival games. I agree with Old Gamer Wayne, uh, and I know the community is so strong that we're not going to lose viewers because we say we don't like zombies. That's just our personal preference. Maybe they're just too big and bad and scary for us. I don't know. Uh, but anyway, I know it's a ton of fun for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Uh, but I remember there was a time I was going on DayZ with Dutch Extreme, just because you don't want to just always do just what you want to do when there's somebody else that might want to
Right.
do something else, and just because you don't
Right.
like it, you can do it for them. And so
Right.
I mean, I bought the game. I didn't even think I would enjoy it, but for him, I went out there and he's showing me what to do, he said, he found some kind of color card. I don't know if it was a green card, a purple card, or a blue key, or he found something that would open this safe somewhere. But you had to go through a lot of really dangerous territory to get there. You had to fight a lot of zombies, and I don't remember what else to get there. But we went. Him, a seasoned veteran, and me, not having a clue what I was doing. And we went through all that and got to that vault. And he had this card that you can't just walk up and say, I want it. You got to actually find it or whatever it takes to get it. He had that card. We got to that vault. We're locked inside. And he's just like a kid in a candy store. Whenever he opened that vault, all these weapons, I didn't have a clue what they were, but I could tell by his reaction, they were special, they were valuable, they were rare, and we had them. And he said, okay, are you ready? I could hear these wolves and these zombies all outside the door making all these noises. He said, are you ready? We're about to open this vault and get out of here and take all this back to the hideout. And I said, okay, I'm ready. And he opened the vault to let us out of there. And as soon as he did, these baddies started coming in and attacking us. And I was shooting, he was shooting. I didn't know they had friendly fire on there. Oh, mercy. Dutch Extreme, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I shot him in the back and killed him. And he died right there, lost all those weapons, lost all those valuables. But there's a good ending to the story. Later on, he told me he went back by himself and got some goods. So it worked out good. But I felt so bad about that. I hope I answered the question.
That's that perfect answer. That is absolutely hilarious. So one of the kind of running themes that I have found, and this one's kind of personal to me, but I've been hearing it repeated by many other players as well, is part of the reason why Farming Simulator is so appealing to a lot of people is that, and the way I describe it, is that it allows me to be able to just shut my brain off and follow the procedure. To where, like those survival games we were just discussing, you have to, in one way or the other, you have to get really amped up. You have to sit there and like survive and do this and do that. And you like, for the longest time, I used to love playing like sports games and survival games and all those kind of things long before Farming Simulator. But there was getting to be a point to where eventually it would start to like affect me, like my nerves almost.
Wow.
And it was getting to the point to where after I was done playing, I was more kind of hyped up and like kind of like
Right.
just kind of like jittery after playing.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I don't like this feeling anymore. And I just so happened to discover a Farm Simulator, and playing that, never had that issue ever again.
That's right.
Right.
Opposite effect.
So it was a very calming and very relaxing, and it was the perfect thing to have after a long day at work and, spending time with the family and, hustle and bustle of life, to now all of a sudden I'm able to just wind down and kind of enjoy it. Would you say that was kind of the similar appeal that you all have with the kind of simulator style games that you kind of specialize in? Wayne, what do you think?
Oh yeah, big time. I was just sitting here thinking exactly what you were saying. It's definitely relaxing. It's a good way to unwind, but it's complete opposite of boring. It's relaxing, but it's exciting. I mean, you would think it's just a chill time. It's just going to be good. Wow, there's just so much to do, and you don't have to just be stressed about it. You just have a good time, especially when viewers are on there with you. And earlier we had a shout out. I wanted to shout out to Sandra also for getting on a soundboard for us on Discord whenever she can. So we appreciate that. But yeah, it's definitely the same effect as relaxing.
And Layne, what about
Absolutely.
you? Would you say it's that you kind of feel the same way, that it's just kind of a more chill kind of environment?
Most of the time. Oh yeah, we've used the term therapy on stream and off stream. Absolutely. Actually, there's some times when one of us might be having a hard time, whether it's physically or having a hard time when we were at work, or having to work through some family things or whatever, and that's just a good escape to get on and spend time, and it's therapeutic. There are some games, like you said, if you're on them right after you get off, you don't want to go to bed right away because you're not going to sleep good anyway. But I can get off Farming Simulator, hop off my tractor, and go to bed right away, and I'll be good. I might be farming half the night, but it's therapeutic. It is.
That's right.
So my the same cousin who I was doing the Let's Play series with, he introduced me to a game, and I cannot remember it off the top of my head, but it was a PlayStation exclusive game, and it was kind of a horror game, which I tend to avoid very much so. But he's sitting there, it's like, oh, you should try it. It's really good, and this, that, and the other. And to kind of give a brief synopsis of it, you are a group of friends that are going out to your cabin out in the middle of the woods, in the middle of the winter, and you're basically there, and you're not celebrating, but you're kind of reminiscing over a friend that you had recently lost due to a tragic accident. And you all have kind of grown apart over the years, and you're coming back together to this cabin and whatnot. And all of a sudden, all these bad things start happening at this cabin. Well, I think this was the kind of final nail in the coffin for me personally when I was playing this game, as to that kind of feeling that I was just mentioning, to where I was sitting there playing it, and I'm sitting there exploring and doing all this stuff, and my cousin, he had gone outside to have a smoke, and I'm sitting there and kind of doing my thing, and then the kind of introductory aspect of when you get to the cabin was that the power's not working. Everything's kind of frozen, and it's just not working. So you're wandering around in the dark and whatnot, and the character I was playing was going, like, they had to go use the restroom and whatnot. So you go walking into the restroom, and you're kind of searching through all the cabinets and whatnot, because you're looking for, I think it was a roll of toilet paper or something along those lines. And you open up one of the cabinet or pantry doors in the bathroom there, and then all of a sudden you just see nothing but teeth come lunging right at the camera. And it's like a badger or like a Wolverine kind of thing,
wow.
that just comes lunging out from the cabinet and whatnot. And when I tell you the scream that I let out, I play my games on a very large television set, like a 65-inch television set, and
Oh my
maybe
goodness.
about, I don't know, maybe about 8 feet away from it.
Oh, mercy.
Wow.
So when this happened, it just like roar, just like right into my face.
And you jump back.
The scream I let out was just like, it was so bad that my cousin, who was outside having the smoke, heard me
Wow.
scream, and then came back into the house. I literally just turned off the machine right then and there, set the controller down, and just started pacing back and forth. But when I tell you the
Wow.
effect that it had on me, and it was
Oh, yeah.
shortly after that is when I discovered Farming Simulator. So I
All
wanted to
right.
kind of to tell that story, because it's just one of those kind of switches that kind of happen.
Yeah.
And you were mentioning how you like the survival games, specifically Wayne, but also, I'm sorry, Layne, but also Wayne. Have you ever played one of those kind of games where it just made you completely like jump out of your skin? And Wayne, you were mentioning the
On the arc.
yeah, the arc there. Has there ever been any other experiences where you've just had like such a severe emotional reaction that all of a sudden it's like, you know what, I've got to put this down?
Oh, wow. I don't really remember. I remember that there was another game. I don't even remember what system it was on. I don't even remember the game, but I remember the creature that was on there. I don't remember any details. It was looked kind of like an abominable snowman. Old Gamer Lane might remember what I'm talking about. I don't remember what it was, but boy,
Maybe
they look.
Star Wars back in the day, years
I
ago.
don't remember.
Maybe.
I don't remember. Had a pretty ferocious beast on there though.
Yeah.
But I guess
think
I'm almost
maybe.
over it because I can't remember it very well.
I mean, we had mountain lions attack us just the other day on Rancher Simulator.
I screamed. I
Doesn't take
wasn't
much.
expecting. Oh, I wasn't expecting that.
Well, and so I was telling you about that game. I think it's called In Too Deep. Where it's
Mm,
the survival where you're out in the middle of the ocean and all that stuff. And one of the main mechanics of it is just the kind of hunting and gathering portion of it. And a big portion of it is to go out into the ocean and gather up things from like the ocean floor, trash, debris, and all that kind of stuff to be able to make like water collectors and like rain collectors
mhm.
and things like along those lines. And again, just very similar story. I ended up going into the ocean and I'm sitting there gathering up stuff and doing all that stuff. And all of a sudden I go and turn around and I was like, okay, it's time for me to get some air and whatnot. And, go back to the island. And all of a sudden, again, just teeth just peer from out of
Oh,
nowhere. And
mercy.
it's a giant shark that just goes
Oh
and
my goodness.
it's one of those. The game is relatively realistic to where they don't just bite and you take damage kind of thing. Is they
Yeah,
bite,
yeah.
hold, and they like take you around and whatnot, and you
Oh,
have to
mercy.
fend
Wow.
them off.
Wow.
And then you take damage and you got to
Mhm.
heal yourself and bandage and all that kind of stuff. So it was a very intense game and a lot of fun.
Mm.
But yeah, it was like I said. Shortly after those experiences where I was like, I'm hanging up my controller and going to something else. And yeah, Farming Simulator was definitely that one.
Yeah.
Sounds
But
pretty immersive.
it really was. So going back to the to Farming Simulator, uh, one thing that I find with kind of people in general, but especially at going through these kind of interviews and whatnot, one thing that I find is that people tend to kind of hone into the style of maps that they kind of exist in real life. So us American players, we tend to lean into the more American style maps. European players will tend to
Right.
lean into European style maps.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, that isn't a universal rule or anything like that, but would you all consider yourself more into the American style farms or into a more UK style farm where it's kind of tight and really close together?
The
Yeah,
main
we've go ahead.
the main difference that I've noticed, and it may just be the forums I've been on. I mean, we've been having a lot of fun on a European map on FS25 here
Yeah.
recently, doing a series. We need to get back to that real soon. But the main difference that I've noticed, this has just been my experience, is it seems like you have an easier time getting down the road on American maps. On some of the European maps I've been on, you have different things along the edge of the road that prevent you somewhat. Uh, may just be my experience, but that seems like the way it's been for me.
No, absolutely. And Wayne, what about you? Do you find that you tend to lean into more of the American style maps because being here in Texas and in the Americas, um, do you
In the
find that to be
US.
kind of
Yeah,
true
we do.
or
We do. We do gravitate more toward American locations. I don't really know if it's because of what we're accustomed to, in this area, like the wider open spaces instead of the closed in areas. But it just seems like that's what we get on more. We do get on European maps sometimes, but most of the time it's American American maps.
okay? And Wayne, let's start with you on this next one here. Well, actually, before we go to the question, um, so when you're playing on Farming Simulator, do you all tend to do like the contracting and portion of the game, or do you tend to try to avoid contracts?
Oh no, we do contracts. Well, it really just depends on the series that we're doing because sometimes we may start out and have a survival aspect where we don't have hardly anything and we need to do contracts so we can raise some funds. Other times it'll be just the opposite where we'll have we want a huge inheritance, so we don't really need the contracts, but still we do the contracts because we enjoy doing them. Just adds another level of variety to the game, even though it's already filled with variety. But we do we do enjoy the contracts.
So Wayne, this is where I'll start with you. Um, of the contracts that are available in FS25, which are your most and least favorite to do?
Wow, FS25, the most and least favorite. Uh, that's a that's a good question. I enjoy most of them. The Deadwood contracts seem like they're fun. I enjoy doing them. You don't make much money off of them, but so they wouldn't be that high on the list just because of that. As far as most favorite, I enjoy just about every, or we enjoy, it seems, just about every aspect. Like harvesting or plowing or planting or whatever it might be. So wow, I have a lot of favorites. It's I can't think of just one that I really enjoy the most. Oh, Gamer Layne might know one he enjoys the most, but I'm not thinking of just one right now.
You know, it depends on the day. There are some days I just want to hop on a tractor and pull a plow. I don't have to stop and go fill up anything or get anything. I just get out there and plow. And then there are sometimes I want to do something like fertilizing or planting or something like that where I can go plant for a while and then go get some more fertilizer or seeds or whatever and take a break and do something different. So it really just depends on the day. There are some days I'd be okay just getting out in the woods and cutting down trees and
Yeah,
taking care of business out there. Then some days maybe I don't know what it is. I just may not be getting into it as much that day. It's taking too much thought process to remember what I pushed to make that do that or
right.
or whatever. So I guess it just depends on the day for me.
Gotcha, gotcha. Now, as content creators, what kind of advice would you give to somebody who's looking to start in the content creation sphere? Layne, let's start with you.
Okay, I know Wayne is so brilliant at answering this question, and somebody's wanting to get into it. Uh, I'd say something that one of my college professors, actually, me and old gamer
Yeah.
Wayne, we had some of our college classes together, and I remember that professor would just say, "Suit up, show up, and keep up." And I mean, if you're playing the game or the simulator and having fun anyway, you might as well be streaming or you might as
That's
well be
right.
recording,
That's right.
and just don't get discouraged. Just don't get
Hmm.
disappointed. Just keep connecting with people and keep doing what you enjoy to do and be yourself unless you're role playing and then be somebody completely different. Uh, but that's about what I can think of right at the moment.
Yeah.
And Wayne, what about you? Do you have any advice for somebody who's looking to just get into the content creation sphere?
Oh, yes, sir. Just same thing again. Just do it. Just do it. You're playing, having fun, and if it's something you're wanting to do, don't let all of the insurmountable obstacles that may seem to be there stop you, because there's so much that you're going to learn through the journey. I guarantee you. Just you might feel like you're about to eat an elephant. Well, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Just start chewing. Just start taking bites. Just do it. Just start recording. Just do what you know to do. Do what you know to do, and just keep learning. Keep learning. I believe we should be lifelong learners. Keep learning and studying and researching, doing your homework, and it'll pay dividends. I really believe it. And just do it. Don't be afraid. Just do it.
Very well said. So, Wayne, let's start with you on this one. What's been the most memorable moment in your content creation career so far?
Wow. Well, I can say the most memorable. I can just uh, sum it up, and it's not really a moment in the game, but just that I'm able to do it with my twin brother, and it's
Oh yeah.
just such a wonderful memory, and it's I just really that makes it worthwhile, and all of our viewers that come in also and add everything to it. I enjoy it so much. As far as one memorable moment, I can't just put one moment. Uh, yeah, yeah, I enjoy it all. I enjoy it all. Even the times whenever, like, how we're going to do this, how we're going to do that, we figure it
Mhm.
out, and it's just enjoyable, the journey. Just enjoy the journey.
And Layne, what about you? Can you think of your most memorable moment for your content creation career so far?
Oh, immediately, right away, being on with BDD Gaming. What a highlight. Thank you so much,
Yeah,
sir. Appreciate that.
yes,
Appreciate
sir.
everybody behind the scenes that made that come together. But I've talked with people that would love to have somebody, maybe a family member, maybe a friend, maybe a stranger, that could be involved with them on creating content. And I would mirror what Wayne said about being able to have a twin brother or a twin sister or whatever somebody has, or stranger or whoever, a friend, whoever that they're with, to be on the journey with them. Now, if I'm looking back at content we've created, one of the most memorable, maybe because Wayne mentioned it earlier, was going on No Man's Land and creating Form Empire and creating the characters, Hank and Marge, and all the work that we did out there. That was really a great time. I could go way back before that, and I don't even think we have the content anymore. That might have been before rebranding years ago, or a couple years ago. Whenever we did Rich Farmers, Broke Farmers, that was really fun going through that and creating all that. So that's just a couple that I'm thinking of right now. But then, of course, I would add to that all the great friends and people that we met along the journey.
Yes.
And I could start calling out names, but we'd have to be here a long time.
Yeah, right.
So, Layne, let's start with you on this one. Was there any? Well, so you all mentioned that you kind of had the attitude of why don't we just record this kind of thing when you were thinking about starting your channel. We ought to be recording this, if I remember the quote correctly. Was there a creator that you would say inspired you to start your channel?
You know, I can't think of just one creator. I think it's just a collective effort of seeing that it's actually something people do, is create content. I mean, we're playing these games or simulators, and there are people out there that are actually not just playing, but they're the games or simulators, but they're actually creating content. And hey, we enjoy watching the content that they're putting out. So why don't we jump on that and do that and create content and let it be more than just me and you having fun with it. That's basically the way I see it.
I gotcha. And Wayne, same question to you. Was there anybody that you kind of drew inspiration from when you wanted to start the channel?
Same as Old Gamer Layne, not just one, but just seeing that there are those who are doing it and being successful at doing it, and just showing that it's obtainable. And not just one that I can think of, but just overall everyone that we watched.
And when you say successful, your operational definition of success isn't saying it's because it costs a lot of money to roll in, but there's so many things that are more valuable even than money, I think, involved in this.
So right.
Gotcha. Now, last question I have for this segment here is, if you had the ability to make a map in real life, so you had all the prerequisite knowledge, you knew the programming language, and you could work in the Giants editor and do all that stuff. So all that kind of being equal, would you, and you wanted to base a map off of real life, where would that map be based off of? Wayne, let's start with you on this one.
Wow, there's so many places that in the world that are just so beautiful. And wow, that's such a good question.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think of places we visited, and I think of places that seen before on computer or on television that are so beautiful. And I can't think of just one location that I would want to create it. Wow, right this second. Wow, that's a question I needed about 2 weeks ago so I could prepare to answer it. Oh my goodness.
How do you come up with these, BDD?
I know. Wow.
It
That's
took a
one
long
my
time.
brother.
I believe it.
That's one my brother really knows the answer to. Well, I do know.
So go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I do know that a lot of times when we would travel in the past, we were always tending to go west, at least whenever I was involved. And I never really went that far in the United States, up in the Northeast. And there are some beautiful places up in the northeastern part of the United States that I would like to to research more and maybe make a map on some of the locations up in that area. And there probably already exist, and I just don't know of them. But yeah, I'll just say that because I want to go that direction since I've never been up that direction.
Right.
Well, I
I
will.
think of
Sorry,
oh,
go ahead.
sir. I think of some of the maps that are available, like Alma, Missouri, and different places of how great of a job that map creators have done so far. And you were asking that question, and I thought I knew which direction you were going. I didn't have a clue which direction you were going when you finally asked all the question. But if I could do that, I mean, you gave me complete autonomy, and if I could do that, I'd probably start off somewhere like a coastal area. I don't know. I'm thinking maybe California, because I don't just want the ocean view on one part of the map where you're farming, but you have that ocean view. But then when you turn around and go the other way with your tractor, you have mountains back there in the background as well. And then you turn around another way and you have these huge trees, so beautiful, that you could work with. I think that would be ideal. I don't know yet if you turn the other direction, the fourth direction, what you would have. But I'm sure it will be something great. Maybe somebody in chat could give us some direction in that. That'd be great.
No, absolutely. That's a good one to think of. But like I said, that is the last question for this segment. So now we're going to go ahead and check out the chat once again to see what kind of questions we have out there. And again, want to give a big shout out to Dust Bunny for wrangling up these couple ones here. So
yeah,
again,
absolutely.
we've got one from Ken Adlam says, have you got a favorite map or map and mods for either FS22 or FS25? So we kind of answered the favorite maps. Do you have any favorite mods that you tend to lean on? Wayne, let's start
I
with
had
you.
a favorite. Oh, go ahead, Wayne.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. Wow, I have a lot of favorite mods. Really like the ride along mod, so we can ride along. I remember we played one game one time. They didn't have a ride along mod, so I was riding in the back of the truck a lot, just standing there holding on. But I like a lot of them. Wow. I can't even think of what were you going to say right now, bro, while I think?
I was going to say that I could have answered that question easily before FS25 because it was a ride-along mod. I think that's base game now.
Yeah.
But
That's right.
That would have been one of my top 10. There were days where it was my probably top 5 or top 3 or even top 1, depending on what we were doing at the time. I really like things like the Lizard 6 and 9 meter plow because my own preference, just personal preference, is I prefer plowing with the plow straight behind me instead of on an angle. I'm sure there are a lot of people that would rather do it with it on a diagonal, but that's one of them I think of right now. And there's so many more that we could think of. Just depends on what night you ask what we'd think of.
Like store deliveries mod. Bring it to me.
Yeah.
Bring it to us.
Right.
Yeah, and I completely understand what you're saying about the straight edge plow because I'm the same exact way. I get driven insane if I get a contract, especially when I'm first starting out and it's got that I think they called the chisel back.
Right.
Oh my goodness, I can't tell you the number of times that I just sit there and wanna curse to this guy. It's like, why? Why is this a thing? What about you, Wayne? Do you have an answer or?
No, just same ones. I like it. I like that plow. I like the store delivery mod.
Easy dev.
Bring it to us. Oh, give me some easy development controls. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Let's see. The next one I have is from Why Not Gaming. Why Not? Thank you so much for submitting your question. Says, question, how did you guys come up with your channel name?
Because we're a couple of old gamers and his name's Layne and mine's Wayne. I don't know, because we had tried a couple of different names before. Remember, bro? We tried a couple more and finally just we were just talking, just like we're doing now, just talking, and it just happened. I think it just happened.
I'd like to say
that's how I remember.
Ken. Thank you to Ken for that previous question. Thank you, Why Not, for this question. I tell you what, Why Not? He's into community building and the farming community. Thank you for that question so very much. And as far as the names go, we actually have one of Wayne's granddaughters is working on caricatures for us. She's very talented, so we can do a little bit of rebranding with the look. There are other things we need to do besides just that, but that's one step. But I do remember the conversations we were having when we were just sitting around on Discord together and talking, brainstorming sessions. That's what came about.
Gotcha. And then last question I have that was submitted to me directly. I still got to kind of pan through the chat here. Dust Bunny asks, for each of them, what is the most memorable comment you've received from a viewer? Layne, let's start with you.
Oh, wow. I would say I've arranged for you to be on BDD Gaming's interview with him. Actually, that's a great one. But we've received so much love from the gaming community, simulator community, farming community, not just farming community, but all kinds of games and simulators. We've received so many great comments, and I can't at the moment pick one over the other, but I can say that they're all special, all valuable. And we do read every comment, and so far we're able to reply to every comment that we get, and I'm glad that we're able to do that.
I can reply to it. No Gamer Lane's going to say, "Don't say that." I know he is. I can think of a couple of times we received comments because of things that we were doing that we should have been doing different. Like just recent, there's a forage wagon.
Oh, Mertz, I can't believe we did that.
And I mean, we had been like picking up grass off fields a lot before, and for some reason, I don't know what we were thinking that night, but we mowed that grass and it was widespread all over the field. And we got a forage wagon, just started running all over, picking up the grass. And Dust Bunny, I believe it was Dust Bunny, she said, if you'd put that in rows, it'd be a lot easier. And all of a sudden we thought, you're so right. What are we doing?
So right.
Just like that trailer. Was it a trailer? What was it? We were trying to hook up in that parking lot that time. And Cynical Slaw.
She's very knowledgeable. She's very knowledgeable.
Yeah, she's very knowledgeable.
Farming simulator. I don't remember what that was, but we got a lot of good comments telling us how to do it right, and we appreciate
it. Tell us how to do it right. Yes, we did. But we really appreciate all the support, and it's always in a positive manner. We appreciate so much.
Absolutely.
So, as I'm panning through the chat here, it does look like I've reached the end of the questions. So that is going to lead us to our final segment here called That's a Silage Wrap. This is where we're going to start closing out. And first off, I want to thank both of you for coming on here tonight. I had an absolute blast with this interview. The first one where we've done multiple guests at the same time. So again, thank you both so very much. And I hope you really enjoyed yourselves.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. That was a great Saturday night. Absolutely did enjoy and appreciate it.
Sure do. Appreciate so much.
Awesome. Really glad to hear that. So tell us again where we can all find you again.
If you look on the links in the stream here, BDD Gaming has our Discord and our YouTube links there, and Old Gamer Wayne can tell you what they are. And appreciate it.
Yeah, and if you can't find it, just go to Google and type in Old Gamers Layne and Wayne all together, and the very first link you come to will be the link to our channel, to our YouTube channel. It's Old Gamers Layne and Wayne dash. Now I don't recall now what the letters were after it. I had it pulled up and it disappeared, but look it up that way, and it will take you directly to our channel. Same on Discord. Our Discord link is at the top of our YouTube channel. Just click on that, and it will take you right to it. I'm scrolling through looking for what I saved, and it's not here. But just search Old Gamers Layne and Wayne all together, and it'll take you right to us. We're on YouTube and Discord right now.
Excellent.
Yeah, here it is. Here it is right here. It's Old Gamers Layne and Wayne -MZ2PE.
And Layne is
MZ2PE.
Layne is spelled just like Wayne, Layne and Wayne.
Glad you said that, bro.
And do you all have any future projects or plans that you can share with us here tonight?
Right now, we got some things that we're right in the middle of. Grandpa's Farm that we're on is at Zeelanka, I believe, is where we're
Yeah.
at on that one. And we're in the middle of L&W Ranch. Shout out to Gold's Gaming.
Goals gaming.
We had a wheel spin, random wheel spin, had viewers suggest different names for the ranch on there, and Gold's Gaming put up L&W Ranch, and that's the one that the wheel spun and landed on. So we're out there on Ranch Simulator on the Southwest Ranch expansion on Ranch Simulator, and a couple other things that we really need to get back to, and also some things that we're wanting to do just in our channel behind the scenes, like getting a lead in. We were talking to you about that earlier, Dave, about that. I really like the way you do that on yours, and the caricatures that we have coming. And we had some viewers asking about merchandise, and whenever we get to caricatures, then we can go ahead and put something like that together. But that's just some of the things we're working on.
Oh, it's fantastic. So again, this leads me to the end of the show where I go ahead and ask the audience that if you enjoy this, if you enjoy this kind of content, and you want to see somebody specific on this show to be able to interview them, go ahead and reach out to me on any of my social medias and give me the suggestion there. I greatly appreciate anybody and everybody. And again, it's people, nobody's too big, nobody's too small. I'll reach out to anybody because this is all in an effort to build up the community and to kind of bring us all together and find out a bit more about the creators that are within this space. So again, if you got somebody out there, whether they're a content creator, modder, map maker, real life farmer, because they're the ones that kind of inspire the whole farming simulator, feel free to drop them in any of my channels there, and I'll go ahead and do my best to get a hold of them and try and get them onto the show. So again, greatly appreciate everybody who showed up here tonight. Had an absolute blast. Yes. And again, really hope that you gentlemen had a good time as well.
Sure did.
Thank you so very much. It was great to be on here. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And just hope it just continues to soar for you like it is. I'm looking forward to seeing more of your interviews with other people that come on here. And thank y'all so much for all of you that showed up out here and participated in chat, that clicked the like button, that shared the stream, and everybody that showed up. Thank you so very much. We really appreciate it. We look forward to seeing y'all on another stream coming soon.
Yes, coming soon to a simulator near you. Appreciate everybody who made this come together. And thank you so much, Dave. Thank you, bro.
Thank you all so very much. Now, gentlemen, if you'll hold on until after the outro, I'll catch up with you after that.
Awesome.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please show me by liking, sharing, subscribing, following, commenting, doing all the things the algorithms enjoy doing to show you're engaged with this channel and enjoying the content. And that being said, I hope everybody has a fantastic day. Take care.